It's Star Wars month, and with recent frustrations in my life right now, particularly of where I live in the world, I wanted to find the perfect game to vent that frustration. Seeing that, like with a certain seductive but angry redheaded Dampier, I had already jumped ahead to the featured game's sequel. This year, I have chosen to pick the first game in the Force Unleashed series, to be exact, the Wii version, as this was the version I grew up playing, and was surprised to see this was the version Aspyr Games chose to remaster. How does the lower tech console version of what's a technological display on higher consoles fare? Let's find out. The story focuses on Galen Starkiller Merrick, who was kidnapped by Darth Vader after his and the Empire's genocidal attack on the Wookiee homeworld of Kashyyyk, forcing him to become his apprentice as he is tasked to hunt down remnant Jedi that survived Order 66. From Rom Koda, a Jedi Master who led his own paramilitary during the Clone Wars, to Shock T. Man, George Lucas could not make up his mind on how she dies, couldn't he? That or Togruta in the Legends timeline have some natural regeneration ability akin to the Majin and Namekians in Dragon Ball? Anyway, as he defeats his foes, Merrick was later tasked to go undercover and find those unloyal to the Empire hidden across the galaxy, which include familiar faces such as Leia Organa and her adoptive father, Bail Organa. Only for even that to be a trap by Vader and the Empire, leaving Galen Merrick to do what is right and fight his former master, freeing the rebels. When I first played this, I used to think this was a solid way to bridge Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Getting older, I recognize some aspects just don't work, especially over the plot of how the Rebel Alliance was founded. It just didn't make any sense. Still, as far as the Starkiller character goes and his personal redemption arc, it's fine for the most part. On to the gameplay, and being a popular genre at the time thanks to the success of Capcom's Devil May Cry and Sony's God of War, The Force Unleashed is a hack-and-slash action game in where the focus is on the sheer power of Starkiller. From his lightsaber combat, which admittedly isn't as immersive as, say, Jedi Outcast or Academy, to his force powers. And even on lower tech hardware like the Wii and PS2, the game still demonstrably shows how Starkiller can charge the force and throw it like a Hadouken or Kamehameha just to break open a metal door. Some of his moveset also includes some insane tricks, like coating his lightsaber with Force Lightning, or hell, Force Push combined with Lightning, forcing someone into a destructible environment, and even use pieces of said environment as an improvised weapon. And all the insane tricks he does during redoable QuickTime events, which I don't mind too much. Still, you all thought Rey was overpowered in the sequel trilogy? This guy is Broly with the Force. Come on! Even the Rage power, which I erroneously said was Starkiller's new power in my review for the sequel, just has him raging and doing more damage as he wails on stormtroopers with his lightsaber. Even with that in mind, while not on par with even the most popular action games of the time, it's still solid gameplay that still manages through the Wii and PS2's limitations. Just be prepared for the infamous waggle on Wii, which is actually not too bad here. Though should you play on PlayStation 2, PSP, or the Switch version, you can play with traditional controls. One thing added in the Krome Studios version for the campaign are more levels set in the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, where Starkiller, not unlike Luke on Dagobah or Rey on the ruins of the Death Star 2, Starkiller undertakes several tests and fights Force visions of ancient Sith Lords, as well as his own father, Kento Merrick. Exclusive to the Wii and Switch version is a 1 vs 1 multiplayer battle mode. Like how Revenge of the Sith on the PlayStation 2 and Xbox has a fighting game-like mode, Force Unleashed continued what the Collective did with their game, but instead, it's more reminiscent of the cult Capcom fighting game, Power Stone, with wider open arenas containing some platforming and of course additional power-ups. Alongside all the costumes for every Starkiller variant, there are other characters to play from the movies, with Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Count Dooku, and both sides of Anakin Skywalker. You also have Nerf versions of Asajj Ventress, who isn't dual-wielding, and Darth Maul, who isn't dual-bladed, as well as other Legends characters like Mara Jade. It's pretty fun when you can get another player. Unfortunately, you can't play it online or with bots. 2 lost opportunities. On to the visuals, and again, even with weaker hardware, the Force Unleashed still looks pretty solid. Some solid details in the character models, even in the Stormtroopers, which makes it look like some sort of transition between the clone troopers and what you see in the original films. Even the environment looks incredibly detailed on the Wii, and Aspyr did a solid job clearing up the graphics for the Switch hardware. On to the sound, it has what to expect from the music and design. John Williams' score, with some new tracks from Mark Griskey, having done Star Wars games in the past, such as Knights of the Old Republic 2, as well as the iconic sound from Skywalker Sound. For voice performances, Galen Starkiller Merrick is performed by Sam Witwer, who still contributes to Star Wars to this day.
Set us down as close to that thing as you can get. You agreed to stay away!
with his co-pilot and love interest, Juno Eclipse, voiced by Nathalie Cox.
They're already at Corellia. Bale and his allies. You have your Rebel Alliance. Now what are you going to do with it?
Darth Vader is voiced by Matt Sloan, whom prior to doing some official LucasArts products, did a series of sketches called Chad Vader. And here, he is a damn good voice double for the late great James Earl Jones.
You were weak when I found you. Now your hatred has become your strength. At last, the dark side is your ally. Rise, my apprentice.
But beyond that, you also have Jimmy Smits, in what was not a common occurrence with actors in Star Wars and video games at the time, reprising his role as Bail Organa.
That one. She reminds me too much of another young Jedi who turned to the dark side. You shouldn't have let her go free.
While Bail's adoptive daughter Leia is poetically voiced by Catherine Tabor, voicing Mom in the Clone Wars and daughter here.
I should have expected the Emperor would send an assassin. It's a coward's tactic.
I do not serve the Emperor. I'm here with Master Ram Koda.
Master Koda is dead. Killed above Nar Shaddaa. My father...
Your father? He's Koda's contact. How long has he been feeding Koda information on Imperial targets?
How do you know?
Because Master Koda survived and he sent me to find you. Now let's go.
Well, you've done your job. You can return to your ship and tell General Koda that my father will be extremely grateful.
And since I mentioned Jimmy Smits, the voice of Kazdan Paratus, the Jedi with the deteriorating mental state that Starkiller must hunt down, Larry Drake.
You are a fool for coming to the Jedi Temple.
After I kill you, I'm going to tear down this temple.
You'll never get to my master.
Of all places to have an LA Law reunion. Anyway, the performances are really well done, even with the over-dramatic acting of Starkiller sometimes. Overall, Star Wars The Force Unleashed may not have entirely met the hype and critical reception, is still pretty damn fun on the Wii and Switch. The game is a tad short and you miss out on the What If DLC, but replayable with its multiplayer and unlockable costumes and lightsaber customization. Even on lower tech, if you want the feeling of being an overpowered Jedi centered on the Force, it's still pretty damn good.